In this video, I'll show you how you can use roles in ProcessKit to group your team members by role and then automatically assign them to tasks in different ways using their role assignments. So I'm in the People section over here, and I'm looking at my list of team members that I've invited into my ProcessKit account. And I want to group them up by roles that they do in my company. So I'm going to go and create those roles first. We have a writer role. We've got editors. You want to make these singular. We've got a designer role, manager, and assistant. All right, so now that I've defined the roles in my company, now I want to actually put people from my team into these roles. So let's start doing that now. Hunter and Remy are our two assistants. Our designer is Juliet. We have 3 editors. Juliet also does some editing. So some people can be assigned to 2 or more roles. The managers are myself and Trey. And we've got 3 writers. Great, so I've assigned people to the roles, and if I go back to the team members list, you can see what everybody's roles are on their entry here, and you can change those up here as well. So now that we've set up our roles, let's actually use them in our processes and tasks. So I'm going to go over to processes, and let's edit our create a marketing campaign process. Now previously, some of these steps in this process, they're set up so that they'll always be assigned to one specific person on my team. But sometimes, you have multiple people in the same role, so you don't always want to assign the step to the same person every single time, and that's where roles come in. So first I'm going to remove these individual assignments, and you could continue to use these if you need to, but I'll just remove them here. And now instead we're going to actually assign these steps to a role instead of a specific person. So we're going to open this again, and again go to assignments, but instead of the team members list, we're going to use this roles tab. And here we are going to select the role on the team who would always be responsible for this. And then we'll set the rule by which we'll decide which person in that role should be assigned each time. If you look at this help bubble, you'll see some descriptions on what your options are. But in this example, let's start by assigning it by client. Now we're going to see how this works in just a minute, but basically we're saying find a person from our assistant role, and if that person has been set as the assistant who's working for this client, then let's assign that person to this task when the project is for this client. So this will make more sense when we see it in action in just a minute. Let's do the same thing in a couple more of these steps in this process template. We'll go to role. And the second one will also be an assistant. And for this first example, we're going to set these up by client. Now, writing the brief, we'll need a writer to do that. So let's assign this to the writer role. We'll set it to assign it by client. And we'll just do one more, creating the image-based assets. That'll be for the designer to do. So we'll need to go to the role and assign this to our designer. And again, we'll set it to assign it by client. All right, so you could hover over these to see which role has been assigned to each of these steps. Now, as I said in this first example, we're going to assign those tasks based on the client and who's been assigned to work on that client. So let's go to our clients list, and I've already created a few clients in here, and let's go to Dunder Mifflin. So now that we're looking at this particular client, we can go to the Roles tab, and here we can assign people from the team who are in these roles to be the people who would always work on projects for Dunder Mifflin. So when we assign someone here, it's going to give us the list of people who we've designated as assistants. So we've said these 2 people are our assistants. And so here, let's say Hunter is going to be the one who works for the Dunder Mifflin account. The designer, we only have one on the team, and that would be Juliet. The editor, let's set that to Emma. The manager, that'll be myself. And the writer, let's give that to Remy. Now, sometimes you could even assign 2 people at the client level, and that means like both people would be assigned to those tasks, but let's just remove that for now. So now that we've assigned people at the client level, you'll see those client assignments also display up here. If we go back to our clients list, you can see these are the 4 people that we've assigned to this client's account. And now let's go to our boards and start a new marketing campaign. And we're going to create this campaign for Dunder Mifflin. So let's call it the fall campaign. Let's go to more settings and associate this project with Dunder Mifflin, and we'll create the campaign project. Okay, so what just happened here is it built out our task list like it normally does, and it looked at the role for each of these steps, and it found that the role is supposed to be based on the client, which is Dunder Mifflin. And so we know that if it's Dunder Mifflin, then Remy should be the assistant, and Remy is assigned to these first two tasks. And Remy also happens to be a writer for us, so he's been assigned to the third task, and he was also assigned to this client, so it's set it up that way. And the designer that we've set to work for Dunder Mifflin is the person who's been assigned to that task. Now, if we need to, just for this one project, we could always just come in here and change up who the assignment is if we need to, add additional people, remove people. That's all easy to do. And these people, now that they've been assigned tasks, they've been notified via email that, hey, you've just been assigned a new task in ProcessKit. Now, each individual person can manage their own notification settings as well to decide whether or not they want to receive those notifications every time that they're assigned to tasks. Now let's go back to our process, and I just want to touch on what some of the other options are when assigning roles to tasks. So let's go back into that create a marketing campaign process, and let's pull open the assignment setting once again. And previously we had set it to by client. We can also assign it by project. So when we're inside an individual project, there we could set the role assignment as well. And you can also set it at the board level so that all new projects within a board get those assignments. I'll just show you what that looks like here. And first I will set all these to by project. Okay. Now let's go back to our boards. Let's look at our marketing campaigns board. And before we create another new marketing campaign, we can go to the role setting at the board level here. And basically what we're saying is these should be the default assignments for all new projects that happen in this board. So the assistant, let's always make it Hunter. The designer, let's have it be Juliet again. Editor will always be Emma. Manager will always be Trey. And the writer will always be Emma. And so now when we create a new campaign project in this board, new campaign. So now we're in this campaign project, and it assigned those people based on the project's role settings. If we look at this tab, roles inside this project, you can see at the project level, these roles have been set, and these have been passed down from the board, the marketing campaigns board. So that's how assigning roles by the individual project works. Let's go back to that process once again, and I'll just tell you about the other two options. So first we did it by client. Next we did it by project, which could also work by board. The last two, random from this role, basically finds all the different people who are assigned to this role, and it'll pick one at random to assign to every new task. And then the next one would just be to assign all the people in this role. So let's say you have like 3 people in the assistant role. Then if this were selected, then every time this gets created, then all 3 people would be assigned to that task. And that would be good when you need to assign everyone from the role, but then on the individual project level, just sort of decide who to unassign in this particular case. So that is how roles work in ProcessKit. It's really great when you have a larger team with multiple people inside individual roles, especially if you're assigning people on your team to work on clients' accounts.